In 1964, 2 years before the Cultural Revolution began, Mao Zedong published the Precious Red Book. The Precious Red Book was full of Mao's sayings and quotations, which all members of the army were required to memorize. It was waved at rallies and marches. School children read part of it in the morning before class started, similar to children reciting the Pledge of Allegiance in America. In 1911, Puyi was forced to abdicate the throne of Imperial China. This made way for a republic society. This was the beginning of communist and nationalist parties. Imperial China and its culture was later led to be called Four Olds. Old ideas, old culture, old traditions, old habits. Four Olds were greatly opposed when Mao came to power. In 1921, Mao began to help found the Chinese Communist Party. He was interested in the idea of a society where the people made decisions, also known as communism. So he founded the Communist Party on the idea of a communist China. This party would later become the party in power over China with Mao as its leader. Mao Zedong first became interested in communism at Peking University. He strongly believed in a society where the people are in control. Mao strongly went against dynastic, also known as imperial China. With this in hand, he then set out on the ultimate goal of creating a communist China. In 1911, shortly after the collapse of the Qing dynasty and abdication of Puyi, Sun Yat-sen's revolution was underway. For 6 months Mao joined a provincial unit of the revolution. In that short time he satisfied his fascination with the exploit of military heroes. Mao's love of revolution later inspired the Cultural Revolution. Mao Zedong died on September 9, 1976. His death marked the end of the Cultural Revolution. It also marked the beginning of a power struggle between Mao's wife and some of his officials, called the Gang of Four. He was remembered as a good leader up until 1957, and then he was blamed for everything that went wrong for the next 2 decades. In October of 1934, Mao and the Communist Party began what was called the Long March. The Long March was a 16,000-mile retreat to a farther northern base after the attack of the Nationalist Party at their old base in Jiangxi, which ultimately resulted in the destruction of that base. The march ended about a year later in October of 1935 in the town of Yan'an. In 1958, about 9 years into Mao's leadership of China, Mao started the Great Leap Forward program. This 5-year program was started to help industrialize farming. Farmers were forced to work in communes or large farms. This ended in starvation from disruption to the agricultural system and caused the deaths of about 30 million Chinese. On October 1, 1949, Mao Zedong declared himself the leader of the People's Republic of China. This was the official beginning of Mao's rule of the Chinese people and his time as leader. From this, Mao later became a great leader who would change China into the nation it is today. In the summer of 1966, Mao began what was known as the Cultural Revolution. This 10-year revolution resulted in the deaths of hundreds and millions of Chinese. This included the deaths of teachers by the hands of their students, persecution of the wealthy, and a year where all the schools in China were closed. This also led to the creation of what is now modern China.